Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be showing you my highest damage yet in the game. My previous damage record was in this, the Skoda T50. That's right, a tier 9 tank where we managed to achieve 9,961. And I promise you I'm going to be doing more than that today, so maybe it's time to join the 5-figure club. And yeah, it's going to be in the 60 TP, would you believe it? It's not a Kranvang, it's not some autoloader with incredibly high DPM or some insane amount of gun depression and godlike turret armor. It is a high alpha damage, flexible all-round tank. And I have to admit, in this game, I, at the start of the battle, said, okay, this is 90% a loss. We have some of our tanks, including our heavy vehicles like the Somewhat SM and the M103, basically going to the back. We've also got a Panther and an AMX-30 who have decided to not even really leave the spawn yet. This was going, I thought, to be an incredibly awkward game where I had to deal with the VZ55. However, we have just a glimmer of hope at the beginning of the game, and that is the VZ55 obviously thought, wow, this is the perfect matchup for me. I'm playing on Westfield. There's a lovely position where we can use our 8 degrees of gun depression, the same as the 60 TP, and farm. And in this situation, I was thinking, well, I have to just do everything that I can to be able to try and hold back the enemy's advance, because look at the gun line behind me. And no, this isn't going to be doing the most spotting for me in my World of Tanks career. I thought this was going to be an absolute disaster to have pretty much all of your team just playing casually and playing at the back of the map, but oh, I could not be much more happy than connecting 2 shells there against the VZ55 and putting a shell in between against the 50 TP, and I'm pretty much firing on reload. And of course, if I'm going to have to do over 9,000 damage this game, you'd expect me to be having to fire on reload. So I'm going to be using a gun rammer vent, and I'm going to be using vertical stabilizers on this tank to give it its all-round combat performance. And I think it's quite ironic that the Somewhat SM was asking me to fall back, and so I decided a little bit of bad manners, a little bit of a trolling there, but I decided to tell the Somewhat SM to fall back, as if he could fall back any more from the ridge line. It's okay, mate. Just don't worry. You just have a relax. You can go for a nap at the back of the map, and let the 60 TP do the work at the front. So we've managed to lose a little bit of hit points, the Stridsvagn 1030, but I've got a 152mm caliber gun, and I know that I can be able to overmatch pretty much every single plate apart from the front of the vehicle where it has the extra track links, which actually counts as an extra 20mm of spaced armor on that, so watch out for shooting track links on Swedish tank destroyers. Alright, so this M3Y is getting a bit of a crossfire against me, but luckily my team manages to help me out. Now, if we had any tanks down here, this M3Y couldn't be doing what he's doing, but unfortunately, or shall I say fortunately for me in this kind of a situation, my team is actually not there. They're pretty much on the edges of the map, right on the red line. That T30 tried to come and have a bit of a swing at the 60 TP, and luckily for me, they ricochet off our armor, and we do not ricochet off them, rolling for 821, tracking them, locking them in place, and putting ourselves up to 6,000 combined in the first 3 minutes of this game. Alright, I actually have a very weird interaction there. I was using intuition to switch for a high explosive round to be able to do more damage against the SU-130PM. But as I was switching, my loader actually got knocked out, and I believe it cancelled the intuition from working. What a bizarre occurrence to happen in World of Tanks, which means that I can't get the extra 900 damage. So, in addition to the Somewhat SM who's asking me to fall back, now the Panther 2 is also asking me to fall back. But boys, I'm up to 5,000 damage with a good amount of assistance, and these are those overmatching shells, just absolutely clubbing the STRV 1030. Now, I wish I hadn't low-rolled both of those shells, otherwise that tier 9 Swedish tank destroyer would have been destroyed on average in 2 shots from this tank's meaty 750 Alpha. And now I'm just going to have to see if I can hope to be able to get the extra shot in against him. Now, on my 60 TP, I do have all of the field mods, which increases its top speed, not really so useful on this map, but when I combine it with the turbo and drop the vertical stabilizers, ooh, this thing's actually nippy enough to sometimes be competitive in ranks, but I do admit it also still feels a little bit too slow. Oh, here we go. Aim on the right of the vehicle, where it doesn't have the big gun mantlet, and we finish off the 704, and we are up to 6,000 damage in the first 4 minutes of this game, with 1,500 assistance as well. The Stridsvagn bounces their 3rd shell in a row off my vehicle. I'm just hoping that this one will fly true, and wow. While 124 isn't going to get me the most damage, because I've now finished off the TD at the back of the map, that means that I should be able to be cheeky and start to really isolate the heavies along the front now that I've dealt with their rear line. So this M3Y is really going for me here, and I'm going to make a bit of a misplay. And that is that I drive up, I get tracked, I lose 600 hit points. Now the ISU 152K on my team is also asking me to fall back. I guess it's because those are the kind of players who want to just usually sit at the back, achieve very little, and just hope that the enemy drive out in front of their guns, as opposed to players like me in this game, trying to get to the front and to influence the battle while it is still winnable. That's it, 7,000 damage now against the M3Y, and there's still 9,000 hit points left on the enemy team. How high can we go? Now remember, I said that my previous damage record was 9,900 and what was it, 46? So I'm guaranteeing it's going to be more than that, otherwise this wouldn't be a record. Ooh. Oh my lord. Okay, so I'm already getting excited just seeing if maybe like we're going to do a little bit more than we did. But unfortunately, my team has actually left the back of the map now. And unfortunately for me, I don't have enough hit points to really risk it against the SU. My G-Saw shot rolls low for 651, and all of those meaty rolls that we were getting at the start of the game start to fade away. Alright, so there's a Leopard, an M60, and an SU-130 PM on the enemy team. We're just going to go with the heat shell here. Hopefully we hit them. We don't even fully aim that one, and now we're up to 8,391. The 60 TP just going on an absolute rampage through the enemy team. Now, results like these are only possible when you do have what I'd like to call the full backers on your team. You know, you have to have players who are literally going to sit at the back of the map and play that passively to sit by and allow one tank to pretty much do half of the enemy's team hit points. So we spotted the M60 in the bush. I ping it out. I reverse to hopefully make his second shot a little bit more tricky against me because I can't take a hit from either of these two medium tanks now. There's the M60. Hopefully we get the clean shot in. Another 708 damage to our tally, now up to 9,099 damage with a Leopard left on the enemy team. But he's going to have to deal with 11 guns all aiming for him. And ladies and gents, I switch out to high explosive rounds. Can we get over 10k? It's a low roll at the end of the game. What a complete disaster. We change our 9,940 damage record up to 9,976. Oh, can you believe that HE shell low rolled for 877. All I needed was a 900 roll out of the 910 average that it would have, and I would have finally had a 5-figure number. Oh, I've never been so frustrated to have pretty much a 10k damage game in World of Tanks. But alas, it was pretty much 10k. And unfortunately, it wasn't quite 5 figures. So I guess I should be a little bit thankful for all of the times my team were asking me to fall back. Because if they weren't chilling at the back of the map, boys and girls, I would not have been able to smash out this huge game in such a quick time. I have to admit, it was a lucky matchup, no doubt. I was lucky with my team chilling at the back of the map, and I was also fortunate that the real dangerous tanks like the VZ55 on the enemy team threw away their hit points early, which allowed me to play about as aggressively as I could. I also feel like I got lucky with where my shells went, but hell, that's probably why you're not doing over 9,000 damage every game, right? So an ace tanker here for the 60 TP for 1,596 base experience for our 12,000 combined game in just over 7 minutes. And luckily, because I fired all of my AP shells and even some of my high explosive ones before I had to load the heat rounds here, I made a decent amount of profit as well. And a top gun to go with the 6 kills, a tank sniper, and a steel wall for blocking damage. So while this round was my new damage record, it didn't even come close to a game like the Skoda T50. And you haven't seen that video, I thoroughly recommend checking that one out, which undoubtedly makes the round that you just saw look like a boring walk in the park. I'm really not selling this game, but I want to finish the video by highlighting that these kind of games you only get just by grinding and grinding and grinding and just having the perfect storm. But still, when it happens, yeah, it sure is darn sweet. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know in the comments what is the highest damage you have ever done in World of Tanks and what vehicle did you play to be able to achieve it. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Sunday, Wargaming, surprise, surprise, have decided they aren't quite ready to change the top of the tree, and so they've brought it back in its current format. And so I'm going to be showcasing in the Tech Tree Showcase the AMX M454. And so if you want to know all about this well-armored and relatively high alpha damaged all-purpose tank, then come along. I'll show you the entirety of the French heavy tank Tech Tree, let you know which ones completely suck and which ones are actually worth your time. So really looking forward to seeing you all live right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic and hopefully I'll see you soon.